My name is Margaret Green. I am 72 years old. I live in a small brick house at the edge of town. My husband, Robert, built this house himself when we were young. He planted rose bushes in the front yard. Every spring, they bloom red and full. They remind me of the flowers he brought me when we were dating. Robert and I wanted a child for many years, but it did not happen. When I was 37 years old, we adopted Daniel. He was a baby. From that day, he became our world. We loved him like our own son. He loved us back. I watched him grow up. Now he is 35 years old. I often think that life gave us another chance to be a family. Before Daniel moved to the city for a new job, he gave me a small box. It was wrapped in silver paper. Inside was a small phone. It had a green call button and a small screen. His name was on it. "Here, Mom," he said with a smile. "This is so we can talk anytime. Press this green button and I will answer." I held the phone in my hands. I was amazed and a little scared. I had never used one before. I looked at him and said, "Promise me you will call every day if you can." He smiled and squeezed my hand. "I promise, Mom. I will make sure you hear my voice every day." The little phone felt like a way to reach him. I would keep it close every day. The first week was wonderful. Daniel called every morning. I sat by the window with tea in my hand. I waited for the cheerful ringtone. When it rang, my heart danced. He told me about his small apartment, his new job, and the noisy streets. He laughed a lot. I laughed too. The house felt alive again. I could hear Robert's voice and Daniel's. Sometimes I cooked his favorite food, even though he was not there. Meatloaf with mashed potatoes about his day. At night, I wrote in my diary, "My son's voice fills the air again." The phone is my new candle in the dark. But life changed slowly. One morning, the call did not come. I waited. Maybe he was late. By evening, nothing. The next day he said, "Sorry, Mom, busy day." I forgave him. One day is okay. Then it became 2 days, then 5. The calls became shorter. He sounded tired. Sometimes I could hear music, laughter, or other people. I asked, "Who was there?" He said, "Just friends, Mom. Don't worry." I tried not to worry, but I could not stop thinking about him. Weeks turned into months. I still cooked for 2. Old habits stayed with me, but they were painful. I kept the phone close all the time. When I swept the floor, it was on the chair. When I watered the plants, it was in my pocket. At night, it was under my pillow. Sometimes it buzzed. I jumped, but it was never him. It was a message from the phone company, a wrong number, or an advertisement. Once, I even answered a stranger's call just to hear hello. I wrote letters to him in my diary as if he could read them. "Dear Daniel, I made your favorite soup today. I wish you were here to taste it. Dear Daniel, I saw a boy riding his bike like you used to." I smiled, then cried. Neighbors often asked, "Has Daniel visited recently?" I always said yes. Sometimes gentle lies are easier than hard truths. Winter came early. Nights were cold. The house creaked with the wind. One night, I sat near the heater. I looked at Robert's photo on the wall. His smile seemed to ask, "Why do you wait so long, Margaret?" I whispered, "Because I promised him I would." Then, one rainy evening, everything changed. The sky was gray. Rain fell on the roof. I sat near the window knitting when the phone rang. The ringtone, that cheerful tune, filled the room. My hand shook. I almost dropped it. I pressed the green button and said, "Daniel?" There was a pause. Then a man's voice said, "Ma'am, are you Mrs. Margaret Green?" "Yes," I said quickly. "Who is this? Is Daniel with you?" The man's voice was gentle. "I am calling from St. Mary's Hospital in Greenford. We found your number in a wallet. It belonged to your son." My heart froze. Rain pounded harder outside. "I am very sorry, Mrs. Green. There was an accident 2 months ago. He did not survive. We tried to contact you earlier." I could not speak. I held the phone to my chest. I wished it could bring him back. The man said more about papers and belongings. I could not hear. 2 months. 2 whole months I had been waiting for a call that would never come. I thought my son had forgotten me, but he was already gone. That night, I did not cry. I sat in the dark, holding the phone. Its screen was black, but I could see his face in my mind, smiling, alive. In the morning, I opened my diary and wrote, "Now I understand why my phone never rang. My son was not busy. He was too far away, farther than I could reach." The next week, a small package arrived from the hospital. Inside was his wallet, his watch, and a photo of us, taken in our garden years ago. I placed the photo beside Robert's on the shelf above the fireplace. Then I put Daniel's button phone beside it, still charged, still waiting. Every morning, I make tea for 2. Old habits stay with me. I sit near the window. I look at the empty chair and whisper, "Good morning, Daniel. How is the weather up there?" Sometimes, when the wind passes through the curtains, it feels like someone calls my name softly. I like to think it is him, trying to call me without using the phone. I still keep the phone on. I charge it every night before sleep. Not because I expect it to ring, but because it reminds me that love does not end. It only changes shape. Maybe one day when I am gone, I will hear that ringtone again. This time, when I answer, it will be his voice.